Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I, Selby Nambishan, would like to extend a very warm welcome to all our esteemed guests, distinguished speakers, media, and delegates to the 13th Banking and Finance Conference, Harnessing Banking and Finance to Drive India's Growth. It is said that lighting of the lamp amounts to awakening of the Atma Jyoti within oneself. I request our inaugural session dignitaries present here, Shri C.A. Arpit Jagdish Kabra, Chairman WIRC of ICAI, Shri Anand Singhania, President, IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Shri Arijit Basu, Chairman, Banking, NBFC and Finance Committee, IMC, Chairman, HDB, Financial Services Limited, and former MD, SBI, and Shri Ajit Mangrulkar, Director General, IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to come forward for the lighting of the lamp.
Nirvignam kuru me dev sarvakareshu sarvada.
Light symbolizes knowledge, purity and wisdom. It shows the bright path forward, and so we initiate the inaugural session with the traditional lighting of the auspicious lamp for prosperity and success.
वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा.
वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा.
Now request Shri Anand Singhania, President, IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to deliver the welcome address. Over to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning and a warm welcome. I'm delighted to deliver the welcome address at today's 13th Banking and Finance Conference, focusing on the theme, Harnessing Banking and Finance to Drive India's Growth, organized by the IMC Banking, NBFC and Finance Committee in partnership with the Western India Regional Council of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. A special thanks and welcome to all the distinguished panelists and moderators who have been graciously agreed to participate in this conference. Your profound expertise in the banking industry will undoubtedly benefit each one of us. We are grateful for your valuable time and insights. The Minister will be joining us shortly. Nevertheless, it's an honor and for the Chamber to welcome Dr. Bhagwat Kishan Rao Karad, Honorable Union Minister of State for Finance, as our chief guest. We appreciate his presence and look forward to his inaugural address. I also welcome CA Arpit Jagdish Kabra, Chairman of the WIRC of ICAI, and thank him for associating with this conference, and we greatly appreciate your support, sir. India has a diversified financial sector undergoing rapid expansion, both in terms of strong growth of existing financial services firms and the new entities entering the market. The center comprises of commercial banks, insurance companies, NBFCs, cooperatives, pension funds, mutual funds, and other smaller financial entities. The banking regulator has allowed new entities such as payment banks to be created recently, thereby adding to the type of entities operating in this sector. Despite the challenges faced by the global economies in recent years, including the persistent inflation and the failure of banks in some parts of the world, the banking sector, consisting of both public and private banks in India, have demonstrated remarkable resilience. According to the Reserve Bank of India, India's banking sector is well regulated and adequately capitalized. our country's financial and economic conditions are far superior to any other country in the world. Credit, market, and liquidity risk assessments indicate that the Indian banks have shown strength and weathered the global downturn admirably. In recent times, the Indian banking industry has witnessed the emergence of innovative models such as digital payments, neo-banking, and the rise of the Indian NBFCs and the fintech companies. Out of the 90,000 startups, a very large percentage are in services and an equally large number in fintech. These advancements have significantly contributed to the financial inclusion and have stimulated the credit cycle in our country. India's digital payment system has made tremendous progress and is considered one of the most advanced in the world. Recently, I heard 133 countries do not have a fast payment mechanism. We are one of the elite set. Our immediate payment system service, IMPS, stands out for its efficiency and reliability, being the only system at level 5 in the Faster Payments Innovation Index, FPII. Additionally, India's Unified Payments Interface, UPI, has revolutionized real-time payments and continues to expand its global reach. The UPI monthly payments has crossed 30 crore transactions per day, aggregating to 14 lakh crores worth of transactions each month. India is a bright spot in the world economy. The World Bank has ranked India as being the fastest growing economy with a growth rate of over 6%. The recent record-breaking GST numbers are also echo the upbeat momentum in the country, clocking 1.87 lakh crores. If you look at over the last 10 years, India's GDP has grown from 71,000 to almost 200,000 rupees per individual. This is reflecting a growth of 175%. But in order to become a developed nation, we have to at least go 5x from this. The number of deposits in India currently stand at about 225 crores, of which 79 crore are women, and about 47 crores are the Jan Dhan Yojana accounts. These efforts of the government have bolstered the financial access and have empowered millions of individuals across the country. Yesterday, I had the privilege to interact with the Ambassador Harsh Shringala, who is the coordinator of G20 and former finance secretary. And he mentioned, about India's theme for the G20, one earth, one family, and one future. And he said that whereas our planet is one, but the efforts have to be many. So we all have to look at various aspects to allow us to really harness and grow India. So we must focus on gender equality, inclusive growth to make India a developed nation by 2035 and stride towards a $10 trillion economy. I'm very happy that this conference is taking place at a pivotal moment when India is confidentially progressing towards assuming a global leadership role. The banking and financial sectors will play a crucial part in driving this growth. Our aim is to discuss how we can harness the strengths of these sectors, leverage the advancements in digital payments, and capitalize on the impressive statistics I just mentioned to sustain a momentum for our nation's advancement. Before I conclude, a few words about the Chamber. The IMC Chamber of Industry is the premier chamber of commerce in the country with a rich legacy of spanning over 100 years. We've been having, with a membership base of about 5,000 members and about 150 trade associations, we represent and advocate the interests of almost 400,000 businesses and industry establishments across the country. The IMC provides policy inputs for the government, both central and state, and is continuously engaged in interaction with policymakers at various levels. With this, I thank you. I believe the minister has joined. Can we have him on the screen, please? Please give a round of applause. Can we request the PA for Dr. Karad to please put on the video? I hope you can hear us.
What's good?
So it's a pleasure to have you here
Hello.
at Dr. Karad. It's a complete privilege and an honor to welcome you to the 13th Banking and Finance Conference organized by the IMC, titled Harnessing Banking and Finance to Drive India's Growth by 2035. Sir, we really appreciate your presence and look forward to your inaugural address. I also have on stage CA Arpit Jagdish Kabra, Chairman of the WIRC of ICAI, who is participating with us and part of this conference. Thank you so much for joining us, sir, today. Thank you. One moment. Next.
Thank you, Mr.
आवाज आ
Singhania.
रही है?
Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Singhania. May I now request Sri Arijit Basu, Chairman, IMC Banking, NBFC and Finance Committee. Okay. May I?
गुड मॉर्निंग सर कराड जी आप अच्छे हैं वी आर एबल टू सी एंड हियर यू कैन यू हियर अस
Yes, I am able to listen. Yes, please.
very warm welcome to you on behalf of the IMC. I do not know how much you are able to see us, but we are eagerly looking forward to your inaugural address. This conference is the 13th annual Banking and Finance Conference organized by the IMC. And this year, we have kept the theme as Harnessing Banking and Finance for India's Economic Growth. We are now out of COVID. A lot of things have been done by the government and the regulator. So we would like to hear your views and guidance as to how banking and financial sector can go forward. Shri Bhagwat Karad ji, please.
I have to speak, Mr. Arjit.
Yes, sir.
Today, I am happy to be part of Banking and Financial Conference, which is organized by Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mumbai. Actually, I was supposed to come to attend and inaugurate this conference, but because of the political compulsions, I am attending this conference by video conference, by video. Really, the topic selected you for the conference, the theme of the conference is a very good, and the theme is harnessing banking and finance to drive India's growth. It is a really good theme. And on this occasion, the President of IMC, Mr. Anant Singhania ji, Sri Arijit Basu, Chairman of IMC Banking, Finance and NBFC Committee, CA Arpit Kabra ji, Chairman, Western India Regional Council Institute of Chartered Accountants, Sri Ajit Mangrulkar, Director General IMC, distinguished guest and audience and my friends. India's economy is growing very fast, and India is having 5th largest economy all over the world. And this has happened because of the efforts of everybody in this sector, and particularly the steps taken by the government. I want to take back to 2 years back, during COVID-19 period, the Government of India, under the guidance of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji madam, she has taken different steps for the different sectors. Particularly, I want to mention the steps taken for the MSME are very important. If you take together, around the package was around 20 lakh rupees crore, and with this different packages, our economy is to the normal, and it is developing very fast. I want to mention during the last 9 years, Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji is completing his 9 years of tenure as a Prime Minister. And if you see, the different changes in the financial sector are very important. I want to mention one of the change, that is JAM Trinity. If you see, India is the country maybe number 1 or number 2 as far as the population is concerned. But if you see the banking accounts before 2014, there were less banking accounts. Because of the Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana, the zero balance accounts have started. The banks have gone to the colonies, banks have gone to the villages, and banks have gone to the wastis. And I am here proud to mention, being a Department of Finance, MOS, around 49 crore zero balance accounts are there. And these accounts are linked with the Aadhaar card. Similarly, again linked with the mobile, individual mobile. So this is called JAM. J stands for Jandan, A stands for Aadhaar, M stands for the mobile. Because of the JAM Trinity, we are having direct connections to the bank account of the individual. So whatever the beneficiaries, the government wants to give some beneficiary to the poor people, that is possible in India, and this type of facility is not available in the most of the countries. That is very important. One of our ex-Prime Minister, he told in one speech that if central government sends 1 rupees, 85% doesn't go to the concerned person. But now that stage is not there, and the 100% money deposit to the individuals, and he gets a message also. The second advantage which I want to tell during the COVID-19, because although banks were open, but the people were not going to the banks, and during the closure period, the digital transactions have increased. And I want to mention here, India is the 3rd largest country having digital transactions. Similarly, different schemes are also there. In schemes, I want to mention financial inclusion. There are Mudra schemes. There is a Pradhan Mantri Swanidhi Yojana schemes. In the Pradhan Mantri Swanidhi Yojana schemes, the Government of India gives 10,000 rupees to the individual who is working on the street. So, and Mudra, without collateral, the banks gives around 10 lakh rupees without collateral. This is to improve our economy at the ground level. No doubt, the industries, MSMEs and businessmen plays a very important part in developing economy. But we want to develop economy of our country, then naturally a common man should be uplifted as far as the economy is concerned. So this government is trying. I want to mention here, during this 9 years of the period of Honorable Modi ji, 39,000 compliances of all over the department are reduced to make ease of doing business, and 3,400 legal provisions are cancelled. So this is to do the to improve the business. Similarly, different reforms are done in different departments. And by doing the reforms, we are going to improve our business. And the reforms will help in the doing the good performance, and a good performance will give the good delivery. So reform, perform, and good delivery is the motto of our government, India government, Bank of India government. I am sure that in this conclave, the eminent from public sector, banks, private sector banks, NBFCs, CFOs, CEOs, insurance companies, CEOs, mutual funds and fintech companies are taking part in this conclave, and you are going to discuss different problems about the finance, particularly how to increase the economy of our country. And just I am expecting from you that you prepare one good report, and that report which you perform will discuss with your committee, and the government is always with you to help for different activities in the finance sector, in all activities I will say. Unless and until finance is there, the progress of India will not occur, and we want to have a $5 trillion economy, $7 trillion economy, and at the 2047, we want to become a developed country. That is the dream of our Honorable Prime Minister. So we have to close together, exchange our thoughts, and by exchanging thoughts, by reducing the difficulties in the business, we will progress. With this short remark, I conclude here, and I give best wishes to everyone who are attending the conclaves, financial conclave. There are different 5 or 6 sessions in the conclave, and each session will be fruitful for the audience and everybody. With this hope, I end here, and I thanks for organizing for such a good conference and inviting me also. Unfortunately, due to political compulsions, I am unable to attend physically, but I am happy to be a part of your conference, not by physically, but by video conferencing. Thank you very much.
Dr. Karat, thank you so much for joining us virtually. When we spoke early this week, you were very kind enough to at least join us virtually. Sir, we've taken note of your suggestion. We'll make a compilation of the suggestions and inputs that this conference gives, and we will table it with you and request for a physical meeting to take this thing forward. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir. Now, may I request Shri Arijit Basu, Chairman, IMC Banking, NBFC and Finance Committee, Chairman, HDB Financial Services Limited and former MD, State Bank of India, to deliver the introductory address on the theme of this conference. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real privilege to have all of you back, in the IMC premises. This is the third year in which I've had the opportunity to be associated with this conference. The first time we had in 2021 was a virtual one. We had excellent speakers. We had very good online participation, but I think there was something missing. Last year we did it at a venue close by, I think, the BSE Stock Exchange building. At least we were striving to come back to normal. But being back here in the IMC premises, this is a historic building. I have been associated now with IMC for 2-3 years, and to be able to do it in our own premises in the midst of all of you, I think is a special occasion. It gives us that feeling that the horrors of the last 3 years are actually now past us, and we can look forward to something which is good in the future. And that is what we thought we will keep the theme of our banking conference as well. That, there was a shock which was administered to the entire world, to India, to our economy. And almost 2 to 3 years of our lives have gone in dealing with that shock. And everyone has tried to do it. We are now past COVID. But it's now very important, while that shock is over, the world seems to have changed quite a bit. Globally, a lot of things which are not something which we will desire that should happen. We thought wars, especially large wars, were a thing of the past, but we find one major superpower of the past involved in a war right now, which is having a lot of repercussions for us. The entire energy supplies have got disrupted. There is a rise of another superpower now, which is not playing out as happily as it should have. And in the midst of this, India is playing its own role and part, right? And we have, I think, weathered the worst of COVID in a way which I would think was reasonably good. But then how do we harness the potential of our economy and take it forward? And I think banking and finance plays a very important part in that. We have very privileged and fortunate that eminent people respond to the request of IMC to participate in our conference. We have very interesting sessions outlined for the entire year after the inaugural speech by our guest of honor. We were very happy to hear the Minister of State for Finance also saying that, the government encourages this kind of a dialogue between industry leaders and wishes to see. I was very happy that he actually wanted us to compile the deliberations and send it to him and wishes to see what is in line. So the first panel that we'll have is economists. The moderator is already here, and I can see one panelist who has chosen to sit right at the end, Madan Sabnavis, but he could not escape my eye. I think the others will shortly join in. And these are the best whom you always see and read on TV and see on TV and read in the press. But it'll be very nice, and they will set the context as to what the banking and financial sector can do. And then we have sessions today. We thought we will start with technology, because some of the bank CEOs themselves say that we can't understand whether we are a tech company or whether we are a financial institution. So it's very relevant, and the FinTech session we have kept it just after the economists panel. And post-lunch, we will first have probably what I consider to be the most important session for this year, which is the NBFC panel. Now, why I say so is that in IMC, we were earlier having two separate committees, one for banking and finance and a separate one for NBFC. And it was thought by the president and all of us that, there is too much of a congruence between them to keep it apart. But NBFCs, as you know, is very, very important for the Indian sector. And I can say as an ex-banker, it's not readily understood that all this credit growth that you are hearing and listening about, much of it is coming by banks lending to NBFCs. So this entire ecosystem of, I think, NBFC AUM, Mr. Thakkar will correct me, could be in the range of 20 lakh crores or around that, roughly 20 lakh crores, which is really, really significant. And my belief is that if NBFCs did not serve the clients that they do, these set of clients will remain excluded. Whatever the banks may have done on Jan Dhan and all that is fine, but there is an extra effort needed to reach out. So the NBFC session also has industry leaders. Then insurance and mutual fund comes in. Insurance and mutual fund, I think, is very important from the long-term perspective, because they are the only ones who raise long-term money. Mutual fund slightly different, but insurance companies raise long-term funds because the nature of their business is, raising premiums which will be paid after 15, 20, 25 years. So they are in a position to actually support infrastructure growth, etc. And we can see, we'll be able to see how that will be done. And the final session, of course, is the one which is usually very keenly looked forward to, is the bank CEOs deliberating. One of them is already here with us. He is a member of the committee. And so we have a packed program throughout the day. I would once again like to thank the efforts made by the IMC Secretariat in a very short time under the leadership of the President and the Director General, everyone, to get this together. And I think this is an annual event where we can introspect. And as the Minister suggested, we will be recording this. And we do bring out excerpts of what has been said. But maybe what we'll try to do this time is to make it more comprehensive and publish a paper with the help of our economics wing. So once again, thank you very much. Look forward to your active participation. We have requested all the moderators to keep at least 5 or 10 minutes in the end for questions. So questions would be very welcome, and look forward to a very, very productive, interactive and fruitful day. Thank you very much.
May I now request CA Shri Arpit Jagdish Kabra, Chairman WIRC of ICAI, to address the August gathering.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here in this 13th Banking and Finance Conference. Where it is banking and finance, I think chartered accountants cannot be missed up. I must really congratulate today, I think the IMC first, Shri Anandji Singhania, the President, a very dynamic personality. We first met in the MSME conference, where we first flagged a 75 days Yatra of MSME. I think, the association goes long back then, right here on this stage when Narayan Raneji was here. And today again, we had Honorable Minister Dr. Bhagwatji Karad. So I think, having ministers here makes things really go well. So I would come to that. I'll not miss. So, coming to this is a beautiful sanjog jo hum bolte hain ki, this is a very good thing that, at IMC, whenever we take a start for a particular event, and when there is a minister also, I think this event gets flagged off very well. So today, I must really congratulate Shri Arijit Basuji, I think, for drafting this wonderful program. What a lineup of speakers. Amazing, amazing speakers, amazing content. I think nothing could be beyond if you want to really talk about harnessing. Harnessing, when I look up on a dictionary or when I look up on the net, I think, the first thing that comes up is how do we harness solar energy to produce electricity. One of the biggest concerns that we are facing now is electricity. Yesterday, you must have heard Khar and Bandra without light, and they were literally boiling. So electricity is the biggest concern, and therefore what do? Is we use natural resource available to harness it and this. So therefore let me bring that same meaning here in today's conference. Harnessing is the word used, and I must really congratulate the directors of this program that they have taken up a theme which is harnessing banking and finance to drive India's growth. So harnessing something that is available to us to produce something that is essential for us. So if that is the theme for today, and I see a mix of all consultants, some business owners, esteemed distinguished guests, panelists, and everyone here in this conference, I'm appalled by the situation today as a chartered accountant on the ground. When we work, we see high number of purchase of SUVs. Innova, which was say a 25, is now 37, 40 lakhs. And everyone is, there's almost a queue of around 24 months to purchase it. Then every other thing that you talk about is having a waiting period. Forget about the discounts, people are ready to pay premium. So there's huge money outflow. And at the same time, when we enter banks, we are looking at a list of red papers, red marks everywhere saying that these people are not paying to the banks. So you really don't understand sometimes when there is people who are paying so much heavily for flying, for traveling, for all their expenses. And at the same time, there are same people who are not paying to the banks for whatever reasons. And there is a rise in the NPA, stress assets and everywhere. So I think this is a very peculiar situation, and one must really consider what really is the thing that can work on this. So when we talk about harness, today's theme, as a chartered accountant, and as rightly mentioned by sir, some company secretaries here, consultants over here, I see a lot of us from here. Many of you would be consulting business houses. What I believe is there is something called a CTC that is required. When we talk about CTC, first thing that comes to my mind is cost to company. But when I talk about harnessing a banking ecosystem for producing some electrifying results in terms of financial spaces, I think we need a CTC. CTC is confidence, trust, and certainty. So the first two words, I put it to you on the onus of the consultants over here. Confidence and trust is something that you need to build upon to harness whatever that you need from the banking industry. And of course, the third one is for the banking industry, people who will be here, people who would carry a message, and the bankers who would come in next. I see Arijit sir himself being the MD of SBI. So one thing that we miss is a certainty. कितना भी restructuring proposal दे दो, certainty नहीं है कि आएगा कि नहीं. Someone from the top will call up, or something would happen, and you never know कि this would go on or not. I have paper with me कि ये आपका accepted a proposal, but disbursement नहीं होगा. So these kind of things when happen, I think then there is a huge trust gap, huge divide. So I think as a chartered accountant, I believe one of the things that I want to roll out from this banking and finance conference, and I wish that you all take away, is the CTC part. And if you can really work on this aspect together, I'm sure with the with the challenges that are there, I think every business could navigate very essentially. And to navigate, I think you need a solid financial plan. And for a solid financial plan, you need to have budgets, you need to have cash flows, you need to have accurate financial records of your transactions. Basic, very basic. Most of the times, we are living in a world wherein we pass on responsibilities to some or the other. And I was just discussing with Basu sir, the entire ecosystem today, the political, if you were to say, be it PMLA giving up to CACS and consultants, be it the Maharera coming out with something, be it anyone. So everyone is passing on the responsibility. But what is happening is, the one person who's the most responsible is a business owner. Somewhere something is being done by them, and probably the entire ecosystem gets to work. Isko karna kya hai? Either do it constructively or destructively. But yes, we need to do it constructively. I think on this platform, I really want to take this opportunity to invite all of you to dwell onto these constructive aspects. To navigate these challenges is very important, and financing options is another part that one could always explore when it is always about a banking and finance conference. With so many products, and as Basu sir mentioned, the NBFCs taking a significant role, Jan Dhan Yojanas and digital currencies, all of these coming in. One thing that is looming large, but with all of these aspects coming in something which is tangible, it is with you, but something which is not tangible is not with you, is somewhere in the cloud, somewhere in the open, and anyone could take it. I think what I'm trying to tell you is, with more and more such initiatives that are being launched, something that we are missing is a strong data privacy law. Something that we are missing strongly is awareness about these cyber frauds, these crimes that are happening. A savings of everyone when converted into a Google Pay or a machine or a UPI kind of a transaction, it goes off in a second. Someone who has earned for over their lifetime is evaporated in just seconds with just one click somewhere on an SMS or this. I think that is the biggest concern. जब तक आपके पास रुपए थे, आपके जेब में थे, कोई और लेके नहीं जा सकता unless कोई आपको physically harm करे, कोई violence करे, कोई लेके जाए. But then more and more we are accepting technology, more and more we are adopting it. Of course, there are things happening, good things happening, but believe me, people for whom this entire government is working, people for whom the entire ecosystem is working somewhere or the other, and mostly all the compliances which are complied by or which are borne by those people, for them, they are at a very, very strong risk. So I think in this conference, there has to be some conversations about what are we doing, what are we stepping up to create awareness about these financial frauds, which erodes an entire family. I'm not saying an individual, but an entire family in matter of seconds. I think that is something as an approach, when IMC talks about it, this body has to understand it is representing such a large population. There has to be some conscious discussions on these kind of aspects of what is the the cyber crime that is happening, the frauds that are happening, and what are bankers in that sense doing to ensure, apart from just sending SMSs and apart from sending anything else. In the end, I would like to stress the importance of working closely with banks and financial advisors. Without them, I think the entire system doesn't flourish. Since all of you are here, I see a mix of all of you consultants, so I think please understand some very important takeaways from these. Ask relevant questions, because the lineup of speakers is amazing and I must really congratulate. These are very hard to find. In one single conference, you get this kind of a deal. It's just a dream. And thank you, IMC, for giving this on this platform. A proactive approach is what is required for the financial management. And in the last, keep the CTC in your mind. Have a great conference, have a great learning. Take something really valuable home and try and spread that across through your social media. I think that is the most easiest way for sending the efforts of IMC to across everywhere in your ecosystem. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be amongst all of you, and I'm sure you'll have a great learning. Have a great session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kabra. As a token of our appreciation and respect, may I now request Sri Anand Singhania to hand over a memento to Sri Arpit Jagdish Kabra, Chairman, WIRC of ICAI. Your contribution for this conference is highly appreciated, sir. For this conference, a memento will be sent to our chief guest, Dr. Sri Bhagwat Krishna Rao Kharad, Honorable Union Minister of State for Finance, at his office later. Thank you, Mr. Singhania. The inaugural session, may I request Sri Ajit Mangrolkar, Director General, IMC Chamber of Commerce and...
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my proud privilege to give the formal vote of thanks on behalf of the Chamber. Honorable Dr. Bhagwat Krishna Rao Kharad, Union Minister of State for Finance, we are grateful to you to spare your time and address the gathering here at IMC's 13th Banking and Finance Conference. Thank you, sir. CA Arpit Jagdish Kabra, Chairman, Western India Regional Council of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Thank you very much for so readily agreeing to be part of this conference and associating WIRC as the institutional partner. Thank you very much. A vibrant and resilient banking sector is at the foundation of India's economic growth. The investments that banks make today will not just guide their future, but will also help them institutionalize innovation amidst a potentially turbulent global macroeconomic scenario. As we come to an end of the inaugural session, I am confident that the day-long conference will throw up many interesting perspectives on the theme of the conference, Harnessing Banking and Finance to Drive India's Growth. We look forward to hearing our eminent speakers as we go along. I would also like to express our gratitude to Mr. Arijit Basu, Chairman of IMC's Banking, NBFC and Finance Committee, Chairman of HDB Financial Services Limited, and former MD of the State Bank of India, Dr. M. Narendra, Co-Chairman of IMC's Banking, NBFC and Finance Committee, and former CMD, Indian Overseas Bank, and Mr. Mahesh Thakkar, Co-Chairman of IMC's Banking, NBFC and Finance Committee, and Director General of Finance Industry Development Council, FIDC, for conceptualizing and structuring such an interesting conference and getting prominent personalities from the domain to speak at the conference. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our institutional partner, Western India Regional Council of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, our gold sponsor, Bellrise Industries Limited, our wealth partner, Incred Wealth and Investment Services Private Limited, our silver sponsor, Shriram Finance Limited, and logo sponsor, Profectus Capital Private Limited, for their support toward the conference. We look forward to their continued cooperation in all our future endeavors. Our sincere thanks to all our media representatives for their participation and to all you delegates for joining in such large numbers. And last but not the least, the IMC team which has really put this together. A big round of applause to Sanjay Mehta, Bharti, and everyone from IMC that has put this together. Thank you all and have a great conference.